popping it now. We're back. It's the Exiles.
We are?
He's Bill. I'm Kevin.
I am?
Look, Mom, I'm on TV.
I love that guy. He's one of my favorites.
Which one, Bill?
Me, yeah.
We kind of knew that.
Yeah. It's readily apparent. Well, good morning, everyone. Glad to have you with us on Exiles TV.
And what a lovely morning it is as compared to the last couple we've had
That
here.
cool front was kind of fun this morning.
It was. It's not much cooler, but I think what you can feel is, although it's warm, it's not as humid. So enjoy that for a few days.
Yes, enjoy that. And I notice your hair, because you have less humidity, is extra lustrous today.
Actually, what I have when I have a little less humidity is I tend to go whoosh and frizz.
That's opposite of what's supposed to happen.
No, what happens when it's humid is it all kinks up into little curls.
Yeah.
And either way, it's
Most of us think frizz and curls are the same
when the
thing.
weather gets a hold of this, it's not good.
Well, we are headed. We are speeding toward the weekend. Glad to have you with us. A reminder: tune into Pelican on Saturday and Sunday because they do replays of our show and Clarence's, both shows actually, both times on the weekend. Did I confuse you? Because I confused me.
It could be a little confusing.
So in the news today.
Well, before you say anything, I would first like to say our program today is brought to you in part by the Treasurer's Office, Louisiana State Treasurer's Office, and unclaimed property. They want you to get yours. And also, we welcome our new sponsor, the People's Republic of Chaz. You been watching Seattle, Chaz?
Oh, no.
A bunch of the Antifa goons have seized. They've literally taken over. They've seized several blocks of the city of Seattle. And may God bless the city officials of Seattle for letting that happen. But now they've proclaimed it the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone.
See, I just...
Oh, Chaz. We'll write the Chaz national
I don't
anthem.
do that. I don't watch that stuff. You know why? Because it doesn't matter to me. They're completely irrelevant.
It's also in Seattle, and they get whatever they deserve, man.
It rains it rains there, and it rains coffee. That's the only thing that they have that's any good.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Star Dumps announced yesterday that they're going to close 400 locations.
Why? Just money?
Well, first of all, I wonder where all these people are going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, they should just leave them unlocked so that, anybody who wants to use the crapper can do that.
But this is interesting. Here is the reason that Star Dumps is closing all these locations. 93% of their locations, because they served food, were considered to be essential during the COVID social distancing and lockdown, okay? Now,
yeah, okay, they serve food.
Well,
You can get like a piece of coffee
but
cake.
that's not to my point. Here's what they found out. I mean,
muffin.
You know how we go in and we see people that, drop a deuce and then sit there and stare at their computer for an hour and a half and then go and take a Winky and sit there and stare at their computer for 2 hours?
Yes.
And we've always wondered, how do they make any money? Well, they figured it out. They figured out that 80% of their business, and the most profitable 80% of their business, happened with to-go orders that they could fill quickly. So they're closing 400 storefronts. Sorry, all you people that look forward to a nice, clean bathroom where they smile at you as you go in. And they're going to, as they call it, fast to go, where you order on an app and somebody hands you your $45 coffee.
You poke your head in the door and they throw it at you.
Yeah, and you can't use the facilities, and you can't sit there and stare at your computer and use their free Wi-Fi. Again, this is learning what we can do without.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, they got the message that they can do without, and people can do without sitting in Star Dumps forever, using their toilet paper. They had no toilet paper shortage, by the way.
Yeah.
And using their internet forever and ever and ever.
So they finally figured out that it's going to cost us a lot less if we don't just let patchouli stinking hippies sit around and burn our Wi-Fi all day long.
And we're going to make a lot more. The profit margin, I mean, some of the locations they have is some of the most expensive real estate in town.
I love it.
And you're keeping it open so that people can sit in one spot and use your Wi-Fi for 3 or 4 hours, not order anything but their one mocha latte.
Yeah, one, maybe two.
Well, no, then they have to go use the restroom more.
I've never just
Only one for you.
I've never understood that. Go to the coffee shop and sit there for hours, using their Wi-Fi.
Well, you see people who use it
I'll
as
go
their
home.
people who use it as their office. Mm-hmm. So it might bump the commercial real estate market a little bit if people can't use Starbucks as their office.
It's funny, in our COVID-19 discussions, we did talk with the various guests on this very program about what the possible effects on commercial real estate were going to be, not only during the COVID crisis, but in the aftermath when a lot of businesses have found out, well, as you said, what they could do without.
See, I could never, if they franchised Starbucks, I couldn't own one. It would kill me. Because first of all, I don't want to sit there and teach employees to be stupid in 3 different languages. Small, medium, large.
And now, is this a Starbucks corporate culture thing, or is this the whole coffee shop thing?
This is a
'Cause
Starbucks thing for right now.
I would franchise a CC's in a New York Minute if I had the investment capital.
Yeah, this is a Starbucks thing for right now. And again, I sit there and Marty comes in and plops at a table, and then goes and plops in the back and comes back and plops at the table.
So a whole lot of plopping going on.
Oh yeah, and he's got one little cup of coffee. I'm like, get your butt out of here! I need paying customers.
So far, we've made $7 off this guy. What a day!
Yeah.
All right, it's time for a quick break, first of the hour, and we appreciate you being with us. We're going to be right back. This is Exiles TV.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
Back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us all across South Louisiana. If your friends are saying, hey, how can I watch those two lunatics? Well, we're on Allen Cable, we're on Cox Cable, we're on AT&T Uverse, and we cover basically everything from the Lafayette Cox system, which is like 5 or 6 parishes.
It's like 6 parishes.
It goes to the west of Lafayette. All the way through the New Orleans ADI, which includes Orleans, Jefferson, St. Bernard, Plaquemines,
Eastern St. Tammany Parish,
and St. James and St. John Parish. So you can pretty much get us everywhere, and of course the whole
Are we
Baton
in
Rouge
St.
area.
Bernard?
Yeah, we're in St. Bernard, darling.
Hey, darling, we'll say hi to everybody in St. Bernard this morning.
Hi to your mama and them.
You know, I have fond memories of the years that I worked in radio in New Orleans. This is decades ago, but I worked in radio for many years in New Orleans and got to know the people and places in St. Bernard. And we make jokes about Shalmatians and things like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
but really they're great people, and I especially think of them some of the many floods and disasters, the horrors that Saint Bernard has been through, and to a large part has just bounced right back.
Yeah, they've been pretty dynamic. When I first came here to go to LSU, and I had 3 friends that I made at LSU very quickly that were from the Marksville Bunkie area, and then I had my 3 from New Orleans, and they took me everywhere. I mean, we learned all about how to properly do a crawfish boil and things like that from the Bunkie Boys, as we call them. And then the New Orleanians took me to all the parades and all that. And I was so confused because they introduced me to this guy, Malcolm Scheck-Snyder,
That's a great name.
whose mother used to say, Malcolm, what are you doing? And I'm like, why do these guys from the deepest part of the Deep South sound like Italians from the Bronx? And they were
You
like,
mean that New Orleans accent, the mid-city, the yet.
yeah, they sound like Italians from the Bronx, New York.
Well, our dear friend and fellow broadcaster Richard Condon is a good example of that.
He
He's from the
certainly
Irish
is.
Channel, and I think he could fool a lot of people into thinking that he was from Brooklyn or the Bronx
Oh, yeah.
or Queens.
Oh, yeah. Well, he exaggerates it.
Yeah.
See, a lot of these people, Malcolm Scheck-Snyder went to LSU with all of us, and Malcolm was studying accounting. He was very bright, except for the time he T-boned a cop car on Mardi Gras morning, but that's another story. But by the time he got to his senior year, all that accent was gone. He was like, hello, my name is Malcolm. I'm studying accounting. I'd like to go to work for your firm. It left him during his years at LSU. And I've noticed when I run into people from St. Bernard or the Irish Channel, they're not quite, except when you get an exclamation. Like, oh, darling. That'll just fly out.
You got to say it like this, darling.
Oh, yeah. But for those of you watching us in St. Bernard Parish, we are so glad to have you. Thank you so much for being with us. Here's a piece of good news in the Baton Rouge area and actually the whole region. Baton Rouge General Mid-City will reopen their emergency room in 4 days. On June 15th,
Wow.
there will be a full-service emergency room in the middle of the city, which concerned everybody for a very
It
long
was a
time.
huge issue, especially for the African American community.
Yeah, they are opening up 33 emergency room beds, which means that if your emergency is there in the northern part of the city, and that is the nearest ER and it's life-threatening, that is where EMS is going to take you.
It was a huge concern. I'm not blaming the former governor, but this happened during the Jindal administration, that in order to cut costs and healthcare costs and things like that, and we had a huge amount of state cost for it, they closed the ER at Baton Rouge General, which is on Florida. If you know your way around Baton Rouge, if you also know your way around Baton Rouge, there's a great population of black people in the northern part of East Baton Rouge Parish. And this left them, if they were in Zachary or Scotlandville or any of the areas Zachary has a hospital, so that's not fair.
But, yeah.
But Baker or any in North Baton Rouge, if they needed to get an ambulance ride to an ER, it was going to be an additional, 5 miles at least, 6 miles at least.
And again, the other 2 South Baton Rouge hospitals are cordoned off by a major rail line from Kansas City Southern.
Right. That was another big issue. How
And
many times will ambulances meet a train?
Yeah, can get stuck behind that train. So
And there was real worry and speculation that people might actually die inside an ambulance waiting to get to an ER.
now LSU and Our Lady of the Lake have opened up a freestanding emergency room in North Baton Rouge, but this will be a very good addition because this is a good size ER. Okay.
Yeah.
25,000 square feet, 33 emergency room beds. And, again, this was Baton Rouge's
But
original large hospital.
Bill, I'm confused. I thought we've talked many times about the Bridge Center in East Baton Rouge Parish, which again, for those of you not in the Baton Rouge area, the Bridge Center is something voters approve the expense of, and it is a mental health intake facility.
Yes.
Because currently, and they're working on getting the Bridge Center open, but currently, if you're mentally ill and you encounter police, kind of shouting at the building, stripping naked in the street, that sort of thing, someone is obviously mentally ill. Here's your two options. You take them to the emergency room, or what do they do with them at the emergency room, or you take them to jail.
Yeah.
There is no, in the Baton Rouge area, there's no mental health intake facility for somebody that needs that kind of care. Now, I'm confused because one of the last places we had a guest discuss the location of the Bridge Center was going to be in the former ER at Baton Rouge General Mid-City.
This is a new ER.
They're building a new ER?
Well, they're repurposing another area of the hospital. What they had over the last 5 years at Baton Rouge General Mid-City is they had their cancer center, their psychiatric center.
Right.
Their burn center is still there.
Yes.
And what they call subacute care. So, your acute care is your appendix is about to burst and it's got to come out right now. That's acute, all right?
Right.
Let's say you don't recover too well and you're going to need more than 3 or 4 days of hospitalization. So if they pulled your appendix out over at the General Bluebonnet, they would take you there for your subacute care.
Right.
They also handled wound clinics and follow-up orthopedic clinics and things like that. Now, so they have a little space. Now they're repurposing, as I understand it, this is a news article I'm reading from. I do not have the release from Baton Rouge General, but I'm gonna say that the news article is fairly accurate. So now 33 emergency room beds in a 25,000 square foot facility. That doesn't mean that they're going to, that if it's been decided to have the Bridge Center there, that the Bridge Center would punt, or that they would punt the Bridge Center. So anyway, overall, good news, by
Definitely
the way,
good news.
for all of the region, and very good news for the people in North Baton Rouge. I mean, you and I talked about this 4 or 5 years ago. This was a big, big scare. And we would sit there and say, how can you have this huge population and no ER?
By the way, if there are any documented cases of someone dying in an ambulance because it was a long ride to the nearest ER, I'm unaware of them. I don't think that actually has happened.
No, but
Thank goodness.
you also, but again, you gotta remember, you can deteriorate with every minute that you're on the way. So.
All right, speaking of on the way, some commercial messages coming your way right now, and we're going to take a quick break. Exiles TV returns in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Dunnam Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis. not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Back with Exiles TV, Bill Profito over there, Kevin Gallagher here, and right in between us is the District Attorney of East Baton Rouge Parish, Mr. Hillar Moore. And always good to have you on the program.
Glad to see you guys again.
Yeah, good to have you here. I guess it's some good news for you and other district attorneys that the courts are reopening.
Slowly.
So where do we stand in terms of bringing things before the grand jury and jury trials? How are the mechanics going to work for y'all?
So the timing is right for the show because we actually had our first grand jury session yesterday, where we presented a few cases yesterday. We stayed in contact with our grand jurors, unlike a regular jury where you can't speak with jurors. Grand jurors, we stay in touch to make sure they're okay, make sure they can make it, make sure we have a quorum. So over the last 3 months, we've been in touch with both of our grand juries, the regular grand jury and the special grand jury. The only difference is the amount of time. And so we were fortunate to have a quorum yesterday to hear cases. And in fact, today, the other grand jury is meeting today to hear more cases. We're able to space them out, give them masks, so that everyone was comfortable. And things went very well. And I'm really appreciative of these men and women that have been off for 3 months. A little scary, it's new, came down, did their job, and are ready to come back again next week.
For those that don't know, a grand jury is not like regular jury duty.
Yeah, they don't.
How
they
long
don't
is a
decide
grand
guilt or
jury?
innocence.
Yeah, how long are they impaneled though?
So regular versus special, 6 months versus the possibility of 18 months. So 6 months versus a year, which can be extended to 18 for our special. Regular is around 6 months.
Now, but they don't meet every day.
Correct. Only meet 1 day a week, and obviously sometimes they don't meet that week. Holidays are off. We understand we have vacations and people get sick, people move. It's real fluid.
Are employers obligated to give you the time off to serve on a grand jury?
Great question. No, not. Some are written in the contract that they do allow that, but most employers are not. But overwhelming majority of employers, when we call them, when the employee says, I'm an hourly basis, when we call them, they'll say, yes, it's a duty that we will let them do that. Some say no because they can't afford it, or the employee's too valuable to lose for an entire day. So we try to make the grand jury hopefully a half a day so they can get back to work and schedule it so we're not going to waste our time.
How heavy is your backlog gotten during this COVID crisis? I mean, how many cases are waiting to be seen by a grand jury?
The best estimate I can give you right now is around 33.
Wow.
Waiting to go to the grand jury, and then as things continue to happen now. So it's around 33. I think we handled 2 cases yesterday and maybe 2 today, so we're down to 29, but that's a big load for these jurors to hear.
Well, I'm sorry, but on the average, how long does it take for you to present your evidence to the grand jury and then get a result from them?
Yeah, again, good question, but it's case by case. Some may take a day, 2 days, some may take 2 or 3 hours. And as Bill indicated, this is not a jury that decides guilt or innocence. It's not
just
a contested.
Whether to proceed with prosecution.
Whether the evidence that they were presented, factual evidence, that's evidence that would be able to be presented in court, whether they believe that there's no defense lawyer in there. So without anyone contesting that, do you believe that there's probable cause to go forward for charges before a jury.
So they will vote to indict if they think, yes, this guy needs
Correct.
to go to trial.
Indict, no indictment or a preterment. That is, we can't decide one way or the other.
Now, you're clearing them in 2s and 3s, which is good, but the other end of the funnel, are they still coming in, or have we taken a break from crimes that would have to go before a grand jury during COVID?
Unfortunately not. So as things have gone along, the 3 months that we've been out, things have not slowed down. They've been pretty steady and maybe somewhat increased. So it's what it seems like to me. You know, we've talked this on your radio shows and podcasts before. The summertime always where we see spikes. Sometimes we're lucky we don't see it, but now it looks like maybe we've had 2 summers, or will have. So the 3 months that we were off and away, and only putting people in jail with domestic violence, crimes of violence. Now we're getting ready for the summer when we normally are high, and I believe at this point we may be around 14 murders ahead of where we were last year at this time. So things have not slowed down. In fact, they've maybe picked up some, and so we have that to deal with, as well as all of the backlog of cases.
Before we talk about where we are with murder and other crime, I'm wondering, once we get inside courtrooms with people that have been indicted, and you can bring some people to trial without a grand jury indictment.
Correct.
What about the people who are serving jury duty now? Are they getting new summonses? Are you able to get a big enough pool to where you can get into the courtroom, shall we say, Monday or Tuesday?
So we're going to find out. Our first jury trial is scheduled for July 6th.
Okay, so we've got a little
Monday,
time.
Monday, July 6th. So the clerk and the jury administrator, Mona Collins, and all of the judges have been meeting, working very hard with us and with the public defender, and they've sent their first round of jury summonses for one jury. Normally we have many, many jurors that come in for civil cases and criminal cases. Right now, the judges have decided we're just going to try criminal cases because we have time delays that run against us, unlike in civil court. So at this point, we're only issuing 100 summonses for jurors to come for July 6th, and we're going to see how that plays out. We have it all planned out to where there'll be distance, mask, you name it. We're going to use the big courtroom on the 11th floor, which holds up to 300 people, so we can space people out a whole lot more, and everyone feel comfortable. We're talking about new ways of handling evidence and passing evidence around to jurors that want to see, feel, and touch. So we're
I
looking
hadn't
at,
really thought about that, but yeah, sometimes it does get passed through the jury.
and we're looking at other states to see how they're doing theirs, and what is your return on the summons? Is it going to only be 20%? And what about cross-section of folks? Are there going to be a group of people that may say, I don't want to come because I'm scared because of my health or age? So we need to be careful of all of those things, and it'll be a work in progress, and we'll see how this goes first week of July.
All these challenges.
A ton of challenges.
I mean, goodness gracious, if you guys can come through this and still be able to maintain a good conviction record.
And things obviously have changed since the 12-0 verdicts, and so we'll be playing with that. All of the things that have occurred in the nation, not only the COVID stuff, how will that impact jury selection, how jurors look at things? So it's a brand new day, and what our hope is that we move forward and even become better than where we were. We learned a new normal, and hopefully we'll be better.
This sounds like it's going to be more expensive than normal operations. And we already know that the courts and the DA's office and the public defenders, are funded by basically moving cases through and collecting the filing fees and tickets on the road and things like that. So you've already got a depressed budget, and you're slowing the cash flow and spending more money to get somebody to trial.
So
the math on this sounds pretty bad.
It's not good math-wise, but as a side note, there's a lot of criticism of how Louisiana runs our system. So we basically a user pay. Well, we do it funded on the back of court costs, people that get traffic tickets, defendants. Is that the appropriate way to do it? Many states do not have that system. We do, I think, along with 12 other states. But we're kind of similar now to the flood of 2016, where there wasn't the tickets happening, the court wasn't happening, but to a larger extent now. So sure, and people now are out of job. They can't maybe afford that fee and fine that now may be waived. So you're absolutely right. It's expensive to start with, and now the funds have dwindled. And so we'll see how we go from here.
Let's talk before we get to the break. We've got about 3 minutes here. What is happening with our crime stats? We're ahead of last year in murders, and it appears to me that we're seeing multiple people shot on some of these a lot more frequently than we saw last year or the year before. And we've got other crimes of violence that seem to be spiking, which is, I don't know why. I don't understand it. So
I believe that probably overall our general crime is either the same or down. Maybe a little hard to tell now since the law enforcement may not be arresting as many as they normally would, at least putting them in jail. So we have to really take a look at the numbers after all is said and done. But it looks like overall crime is probably consistent or down. It does seem that, as I've indicated, I think that we are 14 or so murders above last year at this time. And one of our worst years were probably a few murders above that. So we need to take a look at that. We've had some domestic violence homicides. We have seen some serious domestic violence cases where the violence has been extreme. And so those we surely have seen, and we knew we were going to see that. We've seen it all across the country. And just like when we had the flood in 2016, exactly the same scenario. But now, unlike the flood, people are still in their houses, not able to get out. Co-workers not able to see women and children, whereas in the flood they were really able to leave. Now they can't.
We've seen, and I think it was you who said, watch out for this.
Yeah.
We've seen an uptick in arson since the stay-at-home order.
So I've seen the arsons, but I think several were related as well to, allegedly related to protests that I think that the federal authorities had picked up. So I'm not sure if that number with a small group of people are skewing the numbers or not, but I have seen maybe one or two more than I normally have.
Now, Hillar, this may be a better question for the sheriff's office because they run the state the state lockup, or the parish lockup. But what are you doing about incarcerations at an age where they're saying we don't want these guys exposed to each other and getting sick?
Yeah.
If you need to lock somebody up, you just lock them up?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I think that the sheriff and the warden and Major Fontenot and the infectious disease doctor from the lake could better answer those questions. But the jail is at the historic low that it's ever been our parish prison. We got down to a low of male population of around 930, female of 70, I believe. I think as of this morning, we're at 950 and 80 or 82 compared to the total of 1,500 or so, I forget. So we're down several hundred. To some, that's not good enough. There are lawsuits that have been filed in federal court saying that they're not distancing themselves enough. I just want to say that I believe that the sheriff, the warden, and their staff, along with the medical staff, have done an outstanding job.
Well, we're not hearing about huge outbreaks that make news like we have from other county jails and things like that around the country, so they must be doing something right. We're going to take a brief break on Exiles TV. When we return, we'll talk about domestic violence homicide. It's all over the country and all over South Louisiana. Baton Rouge is no exception. Hillar Moore, our district attorney, has become an expert on this. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. Stick around.
That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
And we're back. It's Exiles TV. I'm Kevin. He's Bill. District Attorney Hillar Moore, East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney, is here with us. We're talking crime in the age of COVID-19. Now, things are starting to, in East Baton Rouge Parish, with Phase 2 being in effect for almost a week now. There are plans to start reopening the courts and start trying cases again. Meanwhile, unfortunately, we thought maybe all this stay-at-home stuff might lessen crime, but it's been about the same in some cases, in some categories, and worse in others.
Well, and also, we've all worried, the experts told us this near and far, we all worried about domestic violence, because if you're staying at home, you're confined with your abuser.
Cooped up.
And you don't get any break, and tensions start to run high, and the result is unfortunately too predictable. We've got how many domestic violence murders now?
I believe we have at least 4 this year compared to 2 last year, but comparing to the year before, it was either 10 or 12. So 4 is just unacceptable. 2 is any are unacceptable, but we're at least 4 for this year.
The one that's in the news right now is this young lady, and I promised myself I was going to remember her name, and I apologize. I can't remember her name. Recent LSU graduate.
Real pretty lady.
Very nice looking, very, according to her friends, this is one of these do anything for anybody type of young people. And the guy she was in a relationship with is alleged to have stabbed her more than 20 times, causing her death. And isn't this the biggest fear when you're cooping people up together, that one of them is off kilter, has a hair trigger, and is going to take it out on the other?
Sure, and so without getting too much into that case, because it's pending, whether that case had anything to do with being together or cooped up, it is, the allegations are terrible, and sad for this young lady and her family. But it's not unusual, and the allegations of strangulation are something that I think would maybe need to talk about. But with regard to staying at home and being cooped up, with the person that loves you and is going to be there to provide you is what they're calling now the hidden pandemic.
Oh,
is
okay.
Is that you're now confined to your home where you're supposed to be with the loved one that's taking care of you and would help you, but that same person that loves you is the one that is going to beat you up, and is the one that's going to take your phone and look at your phone to see who you're talking to. So there's a danger there outside of a normal context, so that if you're living with a person who's an abuser, you do get to go to work, you get to go to church, see people, you do get to take your phone out and call someone maybe, and then maybe delete that call or that text. Maybe you can't do that when you're at home with that person, because that person is also at home now, because neither can go to their job or go anywhere. You're not being seen by outsiders at work or at school, and so you really can't report like you normally would.
Separated from any support structure.
Anyone. And then the person that you're living with has a family, you're related to that family. If you report on him, what's that going to do to you? What's it going to do to your children? What's it going to do to your income that you have coming in?
And even without the lockdown, phase 1, phase 2, we've seen that quite often, what's a young woman or a victim, it doesn't necessarily have to be any one gender, what's a victim's recourse is try to get a protective order. And how many times have we seen where the protective order was a catalyst to more violence?
It does. It can be. I want to commend the judges. They have been bending over backwards to help us with protective orders as we go in. Everyone's been working as hard as they can to protect these people who are vulnerable. So, yeah, we always see that right when there's a protective order, either before or after, or when there's a court date. That's where you see violence escalated, then it subsides after that. But when they know things are going to court, things will pick up. So we try to monitor those situations during that period of time.
I remember being taught many, many years ago, and the thinking may have changed, but if you're looking to spot a potentially abusive relationship, one that can actually get physical or homicidal, you look for control, somebody who wants to control your every move, isolation, and then what their emotional state is like. They have a hair-trigger temper. They get mad over little tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have provided isolation with this stay-at-home order, because if someone is seeing this, they can say, honey, I'm going to the store. I'll be back in 20 minutes, and they can call you or the police or one of the agencies and say, I need help. But this is the guy who says, I'll go with you.
Or there's only one car because they took the car away from the lady. I'll drive you to work, so you can't have a car, you can't get off. Or I'll drive you to the drugstore, so you can't make that phone call. And so you're right, the isolation is a really big part of it, and the control. And that's why we did the press release right when this was going on in phase 1 with the mayor, the chief, the sheriff, and others, and judges, to say, we expect this is going to happen because we saw it in 2016. But that control is overwhelming, and it drives everything that we see. The other thing I wanted to mention was the strangulation part.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that when men or women put their hands around someone's neck and they strangle them, especially to the point of they're passing out, they're blacking out, they can't remember. That's a telltale sign across the nation for researchers that the next encounter may be deadly.
Oh dear.
And that it may not just be by hands, could be by a gun or other things. And that's proven to be true across the country. It's proven to be true here. So we really look at domestic abuse strangulation cases very hard here.
I know that you don't have complete control over this, but if you get a call, maybe from a concerned neighbor, I think he's beating her, send the cops. And the cop says it's clear that he was trying to choke her. Are there some special protections? Is there an e-ticket that makes it quicker to get this woman out of there and into a shelter and get some help?
Not necessarily, unless the woman wants to do that. So we can't do it ourselves. They have to want to do that, and that's again now a problem, because you're wanting to do.
That would seem like a brave decision, because you may be inviting more trouble.
And not only from that person, maybe, but from family members. So you have to really be careful about that. They have to have an exit plan, and it has to be permanent at that point. So a very difficult decision that women have to make in that position. We are trying to start a family justice center where hopefully we can get that better addressed, to where when we know that there's a victim and that officer reports it, he can give that lady a ticket, a notice saying you have an appointment tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock at the Family Justice Center because this person is now incarcerated. before he gets out, let's set up a plan. Let's get something going with you. Can we better able to meet your needs right now as quick as we can, as opposed to waiting 3 days, 5 days, a week, and when that person's out of jail, they're back again, and things deteriorate.
If I may move the subject over just a little bit, I've noticed when I read the headlines that there's still a lot of shootings that are going on. Some not fatal, thank God. Is there still a significant level of gang/drug related motive behind this, to the best of your knowledge, or are these just random?
Sure, I think there's always is a wrong word, but generally there's a connection between the victim and the defendant that each other knows and the community knows, and that we generally don't know. They don't want to tell us about it. So, gang or group affiliation is a better word. Always, and a group could be a group of drug dealers, and may not just be a traditional gang, but generally our murder.
And not all gangs are moving drugs.
Correct. Maybe doing other things, but surely I think the overwhelming majority of violence, not only in Baton Rouge, but every city in America, major and medium size, or a group member involved. One way or another. A group may be a family feuding with another. It may be just a traditional group with a name and a logo, or it could be a drug dealing group feuding with another drug dealing group. But we see drugs and groups are the main driver of all of our crimes.
To the best of your knowledge, how many innocents have been caught with stray gunfire, like so far this year?
I can tell you that there's been at least a few people who were not the intended targets that have been killed, maybe a handful. I'm not positive of the exact number, but we have seen that this year. It does happen.
And are these groups of associates, are they still getting the best weapons on earth from dumb people that don't lock their cars and keep their weapons in them?
We've talked about
this. Again, for the most part, yes. They get guns out of cars, and generally the time to crime is very quick. So the ATF looks at time to crime. Time it's reported stolen, if we even get it reported stolen, to the time it's used. And unfortunately, when they find a gun that's good and effective, they use that gun multiple times, and we can tell by the shell casings that we pick up from the different scenes. So locking your car doors, taking your gun from your car to your home, or just keeping it locked is huge for us.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to leave a very expensive weapon in your car.
The people that are using guns in crimes are not going to a gun store, buying guns. Maybe they're buying ammunition at different places, but they're not traditionally buying guns that they use. They're not registered. Obviously, they're all, for the most part, stolen.
That's an episode in our society, I think, that is going to have a to be continued. You know, all these people who value their gun rights, there are going to be enough of these where A, the insurance company is going to stop paying off because you left your car unlocked, and B, somebody's going to write a law at the legislature that says if your gun gets stolen because you left it in an unlocked car and it's committed a crime, we're going to fine you.
Some states have that legislation. One other state that I saw through the sheriff is asking gun owners, when you take your gun and you take it to a range, would you keep one of your shell casings and keep it at your house just in case your gun's stolen? I can at least have your shell casing. I can compare that shell casing to maybe some other murders or non-fatal shootings to see if that's your gun that we're looking for.
That doesn't sound like an unreasonable request at all.
Nope. Hillar Moore is our DA here in East Baton Rouge Parish, and we always appreciate his time. We will be back after a brief break on Exiles TV. Thank you, sir.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvant.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology, which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you with us this morning. Coming up in our next hour, there's a new sheriff in town. Well, not really. There is a new head of Crime Stoppers for the entire region. Former Deputy Chief Jonny Dunnam of BRPD has retired, and he is now leading Crime Stoppers from the Baton Rouge office, but it is the entire region that they take care of. And we thought we'd invite him on to introduce him to you and have him talk about the role Crime Stoppers plays in solving cases all across the South.
You know, Crime Stoppers has been at this in the greater Baton Rouge area for, I know there are Crime Stoppers everywhere. There's a Crime Stoppers in your community, and they all work in concert with one another.
Mm-hmm.
But for 35 years now, Crime Stoppers has been making a difference in catching people, getting them brought to justice, and making a difference in people's lives. And they've done this largely on public funding and some private donations, and they've been able to do it effectively with the model of you remain anonymous. Nobody ever needs to know it was you that dropped the tip that led to the arrest.
And they pay you cash money.
Cash money.
Cash money.
We've had it described to us before by Crime Stoppers officers, but I think I'm going to wait and let Jonny tell you how the mechanism works when he joins us later in the show.
Now, here's something that's really, really important. And I'm going to couch this by saying, yes, this gentleman has left the plane. He is no longer with us. But I'm also going to say that I would have made fun of him were he robust and alive and healthy today. So I am going to make fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is important. All right. What do we got? A $1 billion shortfall at the legislature. They call themselves back into special session.
Right.
Yeah. Most people can't get into the hearings to see who's got their hand in their pocket next.
And plus all the money they spent on matching T-shirts went to waste.
But hey, yesterday, by God, the governor signed into law a license plate honoring LSU's historic 2019 season, authored by the late Representative Reggie Bagala of Cutoff.
I feel bad for Reggie Bagala. Reggie Bagala was a rookie representative. He had pre-filed that bill, and then he got COVID-19, and he died. And he never really gotten a chance to serve in the legislature during a session.
Yet his legacy is leaving us this stupidity.
Well, I understand vanity plates are absolutely unneeded, but they do serve some purpose. and some people like having them, so who am I to judge? And I think it was a nice gesture of the legislature to pick up the ball, run with it, and pass it. It's not offensive. It doesn't hurt anybody,
I
Bill.
am offended by the wasting of legislative time in a special session and paying per diem for this crap.
Well, the per diem I'm not going to argue with, but
the guy's not even here to complain. You could have shuffled this one off to Buffalo and nobody would have known.
A friend of our program is Ted James, who is Baton Rouge representative in the state legislature. And it was Ted James who somewhat controversially said when they were starting to convene the legislature, he was getting over COVID-19. One of his cohorts in the legislature had died of COVID-19, and he voiced the opinion to one of our local reporters that he didn't necessarily think that all of them needed to go back to work. And he said, what's the main mission? The main mission is a balanced budget. That's done by the Appropriations Committee, the Senate Finance Committee, and then when all that approval is done, you need floor votes. Floor votes can be done remotely. They can be done by email or snail mail. But as Ted said, and I'm paraphrasing him, he said, we are not essential. We argue license plates and marijuana.
Exactly.
We are not doing the heavy lifting on the budget. And so I agree to some extent, but I don't know how much legislative time it wasted, Bill. Come on. They were sitting up there doing, a lot of them not doing the budget. They might as well have been doing something.
It's the entire idea. It's just like the stripper bill and then the amendment, the No Fat Chicks amendment. It is organized institutional stupidity that they think is relevant. And it's particularly offensive in a time of crisis. Now, I wonder if they're going to go back to the late representative's constituents and say, by the way, since you wanted us to honor this foolishness with a big ceremony and all this, when we ask for new taxes, you guys are going to be asked for 5% more. Institutionalized pleasure stroking.
That was nicely put.
Yeah, well, what's running around in my head is
Do you have
not...
any idea how many vanity plates or specialty plates?
God.
I guess specialty plate is the right word. But we have...
Notary Public.
We have dozens
Black Bear
of specialty plates in Louisiana, and it seems like there's no end to the amount of specialty plates being added. But again, does it harm anything? I don't know. Usually a portion of because you pay more for specialty plate, and usually a portion goes to something that might be deemed a good cause.
Maybe some of this should just go straight to hell. That's what it should go to.
I don't have any huge problem
Well,
with
it does keep the work interesting for the people in Angola. Because what are we making today? Oh, registered nurse plates. I like those. They've got a nice design. I don't like the Black Bear one. They look too much like the other one.
What I want to know is why didn't we have a specialty plate for LSU's last World Championship?
Well, because there was no mouth-breathing, drooling at the mouth, never spent a day of his life on a classroom there that wanted to bring it to the legislature and have it done.
Wow, you're talking about dead man.
Yeah. Ain't it grand?
Wow.
Hey, look.
Sorry, I have no problem with
Three
specialty
strikes.
plates.
3 strikes. A grown man who's called Reggie, who lives in Cutoff, and his only act after getting elected to the legislature was this.
It was the only bill he pre-filed before he got sick.
As I said,
come on,
his
Bill.
only act.
Jeez.
His only act.
Now, what's more important, did the governor sign the official state cat bill?
I don't think so. That one's still pending.
That's good because
they're arguing about that in the Veterinary Medicine Committee.
I need veterinary medicine. I need to argue that the Nibelung needs to be the state cat because I've got one.
I love Ed Ogeron. I think he's hysterical. I think he's a very bright guy. But they show him at the signing ceremony here, and his mask, which is an LSU mask, obviously, is below his nose.
Of course. They're all wearing them. They're all, because you can't breathe in those damn things.
John Bell's got his up. Mrs. Bagala, the widow Bagala's got hers up. Dr. BU's got his up.
All right, time for another break. We're going to take care of some business. We have a whole other hour of Exiles
I need
TV.
a Valium.
On the way in just minutes.
Bellello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bellello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles from what you ask? Exiled from the radio. But now, we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hey, welcome back. This is Exiles TV, Hour 2. If you missed Hour 1, get here earlier.
What's the matter with you? Can you not be on time?
You can always catch the rebroadcast tonight at 10 on Pelican Broadcasting KPBN on your cable system. Or, you know what, in just a matter of a few short hours, Jonathan Poche, our producer, is going to, producer or engineer, what's the correct title, Marty? All that. I love
that.
Jack of all. Anyway, Jonathan will post this on the Pelican Broadcasting YouTube page, and you can view it on demand.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. So, now I want to clarify that the reason I am upset over this bill is because there seem to be people in our state that aren't upset by it at all when we are facing $1 billion budget deficit, and they're basically all there, squirming in their seat cushions.
Who?
The people in the legislature.
Well, people in the legislature, sure, because they know they've got a job to do, and now they're in special session to actually get it done before June 30th.
And the governor, right? Governor, you want to sign?
When was the last time you talked to anybody that said, man, it pisses me off when they do them damn specialty plates? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the budget deficit. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about anything. But, I mean, here's the governor. He's got his pen in hand, and he's like, okay, this is the dead guy, right? It is?
Yeah.
The dead guy? Okay, I'll sign it.
Dead guy, sign it.
I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Because it's a dead guy.
Gentlemen, this bill was a landmark in the treatment of the insane gambler.
We have to do something to protect our phony baloney jobs.
Yeah.
I can get a harump out of that guy.
I personally have no problem with the license plate bill, honestly, William. I don't have any problem with that at all. It's the kind of stuff that those who aren't involved in the nuts and bolts of the budget and capital outlay and the bills that are important to the state, it's like a participation trophy. We passed your bill. Congratulations.
Yeah, it is. Welcome to Special Olympics, Louisiana legislature style.
We passed your bill. We now have a state cat.
It's just there's one state in the union, and I've forgotten which one it is, that doesn't do any specialty plates, with the exception of handicapped or disabled veterans.
Disabled veterans, some could say, is specialty, but I think a disabled veteran should get a license plate for free for the rest of their life.
Well, but the reason they don't do all of these specialty plates is, they said, very simple. The license plate of this state is an official identification card for your vehicle. It needs to be standardized. There need to be no variations, just like the driver's license you carry in your pocket or your United States passport. And it's like, yeah, when did we decide that we desperately needed 25 different kinds of license plate art in Louisiana?
Celebrating the black bear. We should produce a list of all the specialty.
Well, how many can you think of? I can think, all right, Choose Life,
Yes.
professional firefighter,
Yes.
volunteer firefighter,
Yes.
retired Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, and Coast
We
Guard.
couldn't have just done that with retired military.
Yeah.
We had to do each individual branch.
Yeah. ULL, LSU,
Saints.
Saints, Southeastern, Nichols State, pretty much every state university.
The Saints is two, by the way. There's a Saints specialty plate. Then there's a Saints championship season.
Yeah, my personal
Specialty
favorite
plate.
is Notary Public.
Because I want to know. I might want to pull the guy over.
When I'm behind
and
you,
get
I
something.
need to know.
It's like, have you got your stamp with you, dude?
We have registered nurse. We have licensed practical nurse.
There's a lot.
I don't think we have goat yoga teacher yet, but I'd like that one because I do want to try goat yoga.
It's a lot, and there can be no argument that there is some legislative time that maybe, I don't know if wasted is the word, but spent on things that are non-consequential. How much highway naming? Highway naming happens every legislative session.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, well, this bill is going to rename this section of Highway 1067 as the Ernest T. Johnson Memorial Highway. It's like,
well, here's the thing. How much additional taxpayer cost in issuing these specialty license plates?
well, every one of those plates, every one of those bills that you may think is non-consequential requires Senate and/or House staff. Let's say that you got a senator's proposed the same bill as a House member. That means two sets of staff have had to write that bill up and then make amendments to the bill as necessary.
No, how many people that we're paying $85 an hour at the DMV have to be involved in Kevin just can't live without a black bear plate, and so they have to do the paperwork, process the paperwork, take your check, find the plate, get it to you. How much additional inside DMV money is there from this foolishness?
Bill, how would you feel, though, if someone proposed we have a Exiles TV specialty plate in Louisiana?
I would make fun of them every single day because it's the type of stupidity that I do not wish to subsidize.
No. That's your brand, and you don't care anywhere your brand turns up. That's a good thing.
I practiced public relations for years, and that was never one of the things that I endorsed. Any PR, anybody mentioning you is a good thing. Mine was you need to decide which troops you want to stand in line with. Mm-hmm. Remember my famous quote? Don't talk to stupid people in public. People will assume that you're stupid.
You're stupid as well. What I just said about you want your brand out everywhere, that's a great rule. Get your brand out anywhere you can until you see your brand on the perp being walked. The murder perp, on the nightly news, being walked with a T-shirt with your brand on it.
And I want to see Exiles TV plates on a 28-year-old Camry with tinfoil on the windows. That would really help me a lot.
All right, once again, it's time for us to take care of a little bit of business. We hope you'll come back. We will be.
You
right
damn
back.
well better come back.
More Exiles TV on the way.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Welcome back to Exiles TV. Glad to have you along with us this morning. That's still such a great move. I think you should do that every time we come back.
Tell you what,
until you sprain your wrist.
And when I take the glasses off, you need to say, "Why, Miss Jones, you're beautiful."
I'm not going to say that. There are some things that even I won't do.
Okay, thanks.
I do nudity, though.
He does.
I'm not wearing any pants right now.
You got to pony up the cash.
It's true.
He'll do it.
The freedom, the comfort is wonderful.
Says the man who's never worn a kilt in his entire life.
And probably will not.
You want to talk about the freedom, the comfort. All those pleats, man, when you walk, that's air conditioning.
See, I'm very wind adverse. I don't believe in putting the goods on display to just anybody.
I should do the show in my kilt one day.
Oh, God. I'll schedule a vacation day.
Can you see anything under the table? Viewers, can you see anything under the table?
Watch Marty widen that shot.
The only time I remember one time we had a guest on. Shall I say who it was?
Sure.
He came in and it was like TV. He came in, he was wearing a nice button-down shirt. He was wearing a beautiful, expensive jacket and a pair of Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
Because he was used to doing Zoom meetings.
It's like, yeah, you're looking kind of crazy. You look a little closer, you'll see nuts.
And his legs were actually giving off light.
Those shorts.
By the way, I saw him just last night. I said, "Wow, thanks for wearing the bottom half." Because he was in a suit. It's like, appreciate you, man.
He must have had a meeting he had to go to.
I'll say it was Adam Knapp, the head of the Baton Rouge area chamber. He's a good guy. He's got a good sense of humor.
TV people do this all the time. If they're on a set, they will wear a nice dress shirt and a tie and a jacket, and then they might have jeans on. There were some anchors, notably at Channel 2, that took great pride in wearing Bermuda shorts.
I knew a guy that would literally come to do the late news from the racquetball court. And he just kept jacket, shirt, tie in his locker in his private area at work. And he'd come in workout clothes and throw on the jacket, the shirt, the tie, and sit down and do the 10 o'clock news.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid if anything happened to that set.
Well, I was there the day it happened to Fred Brooks at Channel 2.
The set fell over?
He crossed his legs, and the old set at Channel 2, before they got into really nice-looking sets, was flimsy. It was basically 8-inch fiberboard.
Don't touch it.
He kicked it right here, and it went over, and he was wearing Hawaiian print shorts and flip-flops. And everybody was laughing so hard that they couldn't cut to commercial quickly enough. So he just kind of twisted in the wind for a good 15, 20 seconds before somebody got up off the console in the control room and went to a break. And of course, when they came back, the desk was back upright and Fred was behind it in his tie and his jacket. And the late Mr. Brooks had very little in the way of a sense of humor. He never mentioned it. Now, how do you do that and not mention it?
An embarrassing moment, best thing to do is just deal with it head on. Just deal with it.
Just say, I'm really sorry. Now you know a secret about television.
Bill, there was something I wanted to mention from the news, and my heart going out to all of our friends in the New Orleans area, especially in the city proper, where yesterday we had that cold front come through. We had some pretty strong showers, stronger storms than we saw with Tropical Storm Cristobal, and the city flooded again.
Oh, wow.
And the failure, once again, was in the city's drainage system and their system of pumps. It's not just the pumps that weren't working, but also that they've got so many drains that are still
clogged,
completely clogged, some right to the sidewalk level with debris. Now, I understand that Mayor Cantrell has been trying to get DPW out there to empty these things out, but some of them, when you're talking about a huge solid plug of garbage, it's a major job just to clear that thing out. But once again, people's vehicles flooded, stalled out, probably going to have the vehicle be retired, replaced.
These drains are not a surprise to them. I would assume they have blueprints of all their drainage in that damn city.
I'm sure they know where their weaknesses lie, and I don't know what is the lack of imperative.
Have they gotten the dead guy off the roof yet?
No, the guy's still dangling from the Hard Rock Hotel. That's supposed to come all the way down in June, and presumably they'll get those two men out of that wreckage, or what's left of them.
God Almighty!
But I'm not voicing my sympathies for the city of New Orleans. I think the city of New Orleans has a lot to account for. It's the people that live in New Orleans that have to deal with this. Anytime that that was only like 5 inches of rain.
Jeez!
And it flooded them. I mean, 18 inches in some streets.
If you're one of the few taxpayers in New Orleans, you got to wonder where your tax money's going.
Stop.
Oh, come on.
There's still plenty of taxpayers in New Orleans. And it's for them that I opine.
Well, they haven't been paying a lot of taxes over the last 3.5, 4 months, have they?
Well, you don't.
All those businesses collecting sales tax. Oh, that's right. There weren't any.
Yeah, that's right.
And the mayor announced that she was keeping everything, their major industry, shut down through the end of the year. That.
It's all for your own good. Has she walked that back at all?
No.
I know that she's ready to go into phase 2 now, and I think that she delayed phase 2 for no other reason than just because she could.
Well,
and I have a question about that. Doesn't a governmental emergency order countermand a local community's emergency order?
No, and with things like that, it starts at the bottom and goes up.
Okay.
But here's the thing. That city should have a budget to fund things like DPW and running the pumps and all the other stuff that most of us don't think of, picking up the trash, issuing marriage licenses, all that good stuff. They don't have inside the city limits much in the way of paper-pushing industry anymore that generates a payroll that goes out and gets sales tax.
I take your meaning. It used to be, Poydras Street, St. Charles. There used to be burgeoning businesses occupying that space.
Their biggest industry is people that don't live there, that come there to act like fools for conventions and conferences and spend lots of money on which sales tax and hotel tax is collected. You shut that down, you ain't got anybody to go out and clean those drains after a while.
Have you seen any recent video of Bourbon Street? You could take like the tourists and you replace them with rats, and that's what Bourbon Street. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of rats just running free up and down Bourbon Street.
You're sure that just wasn't people from Ohio?
No, they're actually no, they're really,
or the Dutch.
They're really rats. All right, coming up in just minutes, we're going to talk about fighting crime. The new man in charge of Crime Stoppers in the capital area, Jonny Dunnam. He's going to be our guest next on Exiles TV.
State Treasurer John Schroeder, encouraging you to visit latreasury.com to search for your unclaimed property money. During this pandemic, we've returned money to businesses, local governments, and people across Louisiana.
New Orleans Habitat for Humanity found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Treasury.
Audubon Nature Institute has unclaimed property.
I found unclaimed property with the Louisiana Department of Treasury.
We still have over $800 million. This is your money. Claim it.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Exiles TV. Bill Profito over there, Kevin Gallagher here, and the gentleman in the middle is Jonny Dunnam. I want to talk. We're going to talk with you for a minute about Crime Stoppers. One of the most important things in solving crimes in any community is the public's willingness to come forward with what they know, and often these tips lead to arrests and lead to valuable information in the case. Jonny Dunnam has recently taken over Crime Stoppers of Baton Rouge, which is actually the Baton Rouge area.
Yeah,
and I guess the first thing I want to say is congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you. I appreciate it. After almost 32 years with the Baton Rouge Police Department, I felt honored that I was selected to be the executive director of Crime Stoppers and to take over for Sid Newman, who basically built the program. It started in 1982. Sid, when he was a police officer with BRPD, implemented the program. I think the chief at the time was Pat Bonanno, that got him wanted him to go look at this new program that had taken off around the country for allowing the public to call in anonymous tips and making sure that they could remain anonymous and also receive a cash reward for it. So Sid started that back in 1982, so almost 38 years ago. And he's built the program, retired from BRPD, became the executive director, and did another 20 years with Crime Stoppers as the executive director. So Sid left a legacy that's going to be hard to fill, but I'm pleased that I was selected to take that position.
What I find most interesting about Crime Stoppers is that you have the bully pulpit here in Baton Rouge because you've got more media outlets.
Yeah.
You've got more people that give you airtime or give you billboard space.
Right.
But you do have outstanding warrants from an entire region that you bring forward using the media outlets in Baton Rouge.
You're right. It's an 8-parish area, and you know, y'all's program and all covers with Cox and all covers a large area, not just the Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge Parish, but you know, talking West Baton Rouge, East and West Feliciana, Livingston, Ascension, Iberville. So all those different parishes are covered by the Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers area, and the office for Crime Stoppers is in the Violent Crime Unit, and so they have the state police, access to the state police fugitive task force, access to the different detective agencies that work in there, so they're able to get those tips to those law enforcement officials quickly. They're able to find out whether the information panned out and get the rewards paid quickly. So yeah, it's a large area that Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers encompasses, but you know, we're great to assist all the surrounding law enforcement agencies.
Now, when we had our radio show, we did a regular feature with Crime Stoppers, and it came to my attention over the weeks and months that we did it, and it spilled into years, was that no crime, I mean, literally, Crime Stoppers covers the gamut, everything from murders, domestic violence,
passing bad checks,
passing bad checks, public corruption,
right?
Just about any. As a matter of fact, I found a lot of cases of people that might be a bookkeeper for a business or something like that. What was skimming, or I guess embezzling is the correct word. But there was no crime that was not under the auspice of Crime Stoppers.
No, as long as it is no crime, we do only pay on felony crimes. But we do take information on misdemeanors and all as well. So we'll take any information on any crime.
How does the front end of this work? For example, does Jason Ard call you from Livingston Parish and say, I'm not getting any traction. My detectives are working their butts off on this case. We think it's 3 people that are stealing cars in Livingston Parish, and they're moving them out of here. Will you put that on Crime Stoppers? Is that how the front end works?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. You know, I had a meeting 2 days ago with Sheriff Ard, who's been a great partner with Crime Stoppers. You know, anything the sheriff needs to make any crime that occurred in his parish more visible, we'll be more than happy to put that out there, to put it out on our Facebook page, website, get with the media, get with WAFB and have it put on their television station. Anything that any sheriff, any local law enforcement municipality wants out, we will definitely use our resources to get that out. And then obviously the incentive of having that cash payment if somebody comes forward. A lot of times people are hesitant to come forward. First, they have a fear of retaliation from you know, from the perpetrator or a family member of the perpetrator, whoever. So having that anonymity really helps them get over that hurdle. And then if, you know, apathy sets in, sometimes people know information but just are apathetic about calling, you know, and that's where the cash reward comes in. It kind of dispels that apathy, maybe gives them a little bit more incentive to call in. So
I remember at one particular point in time when we were doing one of these interviews, and I think it was Don Stone I asked, do you have a problem with people who think they saw something but they don't think it's important enough so they don't call?
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot. The whole see something, say something mantra that law enforcement has put out there since 9/11, it's still still important today. You want to make sure that even though you may not think it's important, that you call Crime Stoppers and give them that piece of information. You may have seen a car that was suspicious at a certain time of the day. Crime Stoppers, Brandy, Don, Coppola are in the office. They're able to be in touch with the detectives, and they have information sometimes that the general public doesn't have. And so every little bit of information that you might have on a potential crime, call in and give them the information. If it pans out, it's great. If it doesn't pan out, keep your eyes and ears open and continue to call. At some point, you could help solve a serious crime.
So you can't put every crime that is getting a little long in the tooth, or maybe is fresh enough that you want to try to get somebody on it right away. You can't do that on your TV appearances or on radio appearances. You've got to be selective. How do you decide what goes on?
Well, sometimes we go through the warrants, look and see what may be interesting, what may not be interesting. Sometimes things are boring, to the general public. Sometimes it's, some truth is stranger than fiction a lot of times. And so certain warrants like that, we ask, Brandy does a great job contacting all the different agencies, asking them for, any outstanding warrants, any outstanding cases that they need help on, and getting that information from all the different parishes and bringing it here. Probably 80% of the information we get does go to Baton Rouge Police Department. It's just the larger city, has issues with crime. So a vast majority of the tips that we do get are for BRPD and the sheriff's office here. But the other 20% are for the surrounding parishes and so anything we can do to help those surrounding parishes.
There are also Crime Stoppers programs in most major cities across the country, but especially across our state. How closely do you work with, say, Crime Stoppers Lafayette or Crime Stoppers New Orleans?
Very closely. We sometimes we'll receive tips from individuals that have called into their local Crime Stoppers. That local Crime Stoppers office will contact us and give us the information. If that information pans out, and it does on numerous occasions, it pans out to solve a crime here in Baton Rouge, we schedule the payment through that local Crime Stoppers and wherever it may be. It could be Arkansas, Alabama, actually international. They have Crime Stoppers all over the world. So we can schedule their payment wherever locally they are. We do wire transfers of the money to.
Who provides the reward money?
Donors.
So you just have deep-pocketed citizens?
Crime Stoppers, Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers is a 501c3. So, we've built up some reward money over the years, but, anything that if the public obviously feels like donating money to Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers to help reduce crime in their area, they can go to Baton Rouge or go to crimestoppersbr.com.
In your experience, all your experience as a cop, and doing investigative work, and now with Crime Stoppers, do you feel that no one can really keep a secret? That people end up tripping themselves
There's
up?
always somebody usually that knows about a crime, that either has, the person that's committed that crime is usually told somebody, or somebody has, potentially been with them, driven them, done something, where that other person knows about the crime. So usually in most crimes, somebody else knows besides the perpetrator.
Well, and again, a lot of crooks just plain dumb. My favorite is the people who want to pass a bad check or use a stolen access card, like a credit card, at a convenience store, which have been mandated to have cameras behind the counter looking at the customer since, what was it, 1998?
Yeah.
You're going to get your picture taken.
Technology nowadays, it's incredible. The chief started the Real-Time Crime Center, and a lot of the technology that's in there is going to help leverage manpower on the police department with technology, so that it continue to, hopefully crime will continue to go down.
Now, I'm curious, Johnny, during the COVID-19, especially phase one of the state's shutdown or stay-at-home order, did you find that you had a lull in Crime Stoppers activity?
No, I wouldn't say we necessarily had a lull in Crime Stoppers activity. We did notice a slight lull in crime in general. But, individuals still call Crime Stoppers for so many different reasons. It could be drug dealing on the corner, a certain house. So we didn't really notice a lull. In fact, it kind of helped, I think, the detectives in the homicide to catch up on some of their colder cases. We had a Crime Stoppers tip that led to an arrest on a homicide yesterday. So I think it was on St. Catherine Street.
And
so
there's no time limit on these cases. Once
no,
there's
no statute of limitations on murder, and so there's any crime, any felony crime, you can at least give us the information. Obviously, the detectives will decide on certain crimes as the statute of limitations is run out on.
Well, we're going to take a break now. We're going to return. We've got former BRPD Deputy Chief Jonny Dunnam, who is now the Executive Director of Crime Stoppers for the capital area. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how Crime Stoppers works to get people off the street and reward you if you help them do that. Stick around.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Belello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
That's right, the Clarence Bug Show is back, along with the Exiles, Bill Profita and Kevin Gallagher. We've put the band back together, South Louisiana's talk team, and it's only on the Pelican. 10 a.m. till 12 noon, right here on the Pelican.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Hello, guys. It's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Exiles TV. We are so glad to have you with us this morning. Our guest is the new Executive Director of Crime Stoppers, Jonny Dunnam, who is a career law enforcement guy from right here in Baton Rouge. And of course, Crime Stoppers is an interconnected group with Crime Stoppers all over our viewing area and all over the country. The Baton Rouge area handles about 9 parishes. Jonny, what I wanted to know is, how do you scale the payments? Is it based on the severity of the crime, or how
There's
do you...
different scales. We have kind of a point system that we go over whenever we have our paydays. The day or two before, we'll go through the different cases that led to arrests. It could be certain amounts of stolen property. You get a certain percentage point. The scales, I mean, obviously, the payments can range from anywhere from $50 all the way up to $5,000 for homicides, double homicides. So the scale ranges, and we go through each payment, and it just depends on the amount of stolen property, guns recovered, number of felony arrests that were involved. So we have a certain scale we go through and look at how much the individual will receive based off of that.
And if you don't mind, I'll get down to a little nuts and bolts, because I kind of promised at the top of the show that we would talk about how do you establish the anonymity and maintain the anonymity of the tipster?
Well,
how do they get paid?
The individual that calls into Crime Stoppers, they don't know their name.
Okay.
The phones are not traced or tapped or anything like that. So when an individual calls in, they give the information. They're assigned a code number.
Okay.
And they'll take that code number once. Say if an arrest is made or an indictment is made on a homicide, they pay upon an indictment. If an arrest is made on another felony crime, they'll call back. They advise the caller to call back in and check in on an update on their case. Once they get confirmation from the detective or the officer that the arrest was made, they'll advise that individual for the payment date. We usually schedule 1 day a month to pay at a local area bank. And they'll give that individual, when they call back, if the arrest is made, on that payday, they'll tell them to call back on that day of the payday. They'll give them, information to put on a piece of paper, go through the bank. They put the information into the teller and shoot it, and they don't have to pick it up themselves. They can obviously give that to somebody else, but once that payment is picked up, it's picked up. So the caller would have to.
We're done here. Yeah.
Yeah, the caller would have to make sure they trusted whoever
it's all
went
done.
picked
So
up the
I'm
payment.
calling to claim the reward on claim number blah 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 blah.
Right. And they'll check and see, and a lot of times they'll confirm, okay, what information did you give, so that you can confirm that is the individual that originally called. But no names are ever exchanged, and they don't know. And they also, there's an app. If you go to Crime Stoppers BR, you can download a P3 app, which is a company that kind of does the anonymous tip app for most of the Crime Stoppers in the country, and you can download that app and give tips through that app to the local Crime Stoppers.
Do I understand you also use encryption to protect people if they text you with information?
Yes, there's encryption so
if I'm texting you, you won't know it's me.
Won't know it's you.
Won't even see your phone number, right?
No, do not see the phone number. So,
do you use multiple bank locations so that somebody can't stake out a bank and know where you're making the payments?
Right. Yeah, we do. We use, and sometimes it'll be a certain location, a certain bank for several months. So, yeah, it just depends.
You've never had it go bad?
No, we have not. We've been very lucky in 38 years to not have it go bad.
Well, and the amount of information money that you have paid is tremendous. I mean, we're talking 6 figures, right?
Yeah. Oh well, it's actually 7. I've paid out over $2 million in rewards. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, it is. But we couldn't do that without the generous contributions of business and private individuals to have that money available to pay out those payments. Over 13,000 felony arrests and more than 40 million in recovered property and drugs, illegal narcotics.
Wow. So that's a hell of a track record.
Yeah, in 38 years.
Sometimes, again, from when we used to do the regular radio show, and we'd have, Susie Jones took her employer, we have a warrant for her, she took her employer for $200,000 and appears to have skipped the area.
Right.
If you know anybody who might know, and I'm thinking, okay, she's probably in,
Somebody always knows.
Somebody always calls.
I tell you, on our fugitive, the weekly fugitives and all, they're running about 98% arrest rate on those. Just unbelievable, and they can be anywhere in the country. We get tips on them anywhere in the country, and we'll get with the marshal's office or the state police task force will get with the local state police task force in that area, and they'll go pick them up.
What about internationals if there's an extradition agreement?
Yeah, obviously, any international Crime Stoppers will deal with them as well. So they're all over the world.
Are there any cases that your predecessor was telling you about that was just so cold that they never got any information, no matter how hard they tried?
There's been several cases over the years. I know Sid worked in homicide for years. There's several cases that I think that are still cold that obviously he would love to solve when he worked in homicide. Obviously there's cold cases. I know there's been a recent case that we had that they're working on at the moment, and DNA has helped that a lot too. You get a tip on a name, they can go back now and actually, maybe get a DNA warrant on that individual and go get DNA from them and check it. It may not have been a suspect at the time. So with the advancements in technology, it's really made it easier for law enforcement to catch individuals, especially old cold cases.
If you don't mind if I ask a personal question, do you mind? You've done your time. You put in your 32 years. Yeah. You had every right to stand down and become Jonny Dunnam, private citizen, yet you remain in law enforcement.
Well, I grew up
You feel a calling?
Yeah, I do. I actually started my career in Crime Stoppers. It's kind of what gave me the love of law enforcement in general and the love for helping the community that I grew up in. I grew up in Baton Rouge. I grew up right down the road there on Cedar Crest Avenue. I went to Terra High School, graduated from Terra in 1986, and I've just always loved Baton Rouge, loved the community. So I've always wanted to help. And retiring in law enforcement, sometimes you retire young. I started at 19 years old, answering the phones in Crime Stoppers, seeing that information pay off when I'd give it to a detective. It kind of got in my blood. Never thought I'd be a police officer, but at that point I realized, man, this is a great job. I like coming here. I like feeling like I made a difference. So after that and having this opportunity to go back to Crime Stoppers and kind of end my career at an organization that I kind of started in with the police department back in 1989, I felt I couldn't pass up the opportunity. And I feel like I'm still somewhat young. I'm 51. So I think I still have a little to offer.
Yeah, you got decades ahead of you.
You got plenty of time to work on your golf game.
Decades ahead of you.
I don't know if I can do 20 years like Sid did after his retirement, but I'm going to try.
Now, I have to ask you another question about being an LEO in general. Right now, law enforcement officers across the nation, some are people just walking up and capping them in the head, but they're all being painted with a very broad, nasty brush, to the point of where insanity of talking about actually disbanding police departments. I'd just like to know your feelings on that.
That's definitely not the way to go. I think defunding or disbanding police departments is not going to be beneficial. It's going to actually hurt the community sometimes that may feel like being disbanded or defunded is the way to go. Unfortunately, I think you've seen it in other cities that have talked about it. Los Angeles, Chicago, some of these cities, large cities, you've seen crimes and homicides increase just during the discussion of defunding these departments. I mean, I think homicides were up 200% in Chicago over the weekend. So, no, I'm not in favor of defunding. Obviously, police departments need to constantly evolve and change. There's new technologies, there's new ways of policing. If you don't evolve and keep your ear to the community and listen to what the community expects from its police, you're going to have problems. So you always, in law enforcement, have to be listening to the community and what the community wants. But I think defunding the police departments are disbanding your police
just
departments.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Well, you were in IA, Internal Affairs, for a lot of years.
14 years I spent in
That's a
internal
long
affairs.
time
That
to
is a
be
long
there.
time to be in IA. Yeah.
And did you find then that there were cops that you worried about that eventually were going to come across your desk for being badge heavy?
There were police officers that I knew, were not good cops and shouldn't wear the badge. It's where I got the nickname Johnny Two Guns. The officers felt like I went after them with both barrels, they said. So, there are certain individuals that don't need to be police, but you have that in every profession. And I think if you look at it as a percentage of your department, it's less in policing than it probably is in a vast number of professions.
Did you find some that the facts exonerated them?
Oh yeah, you find them. With the advent, of in-car cameras that came around in the early 2000s, late 90s, we noticed a decrease in internal affairs complaints because you had the officers a lot of time had the cameras to back up what they did, and then now with body-worn cameras, you have the same thing. I think you've seen a decrease in police complaints because individuals know, first off, you're weeding out those complaints that are baseless because they can immediately pull up that body cam video and see. And so the detectives, the investigators in IA have more time to concentrate on the valid complaints. I think police officers, you probably don't have a profession that is more regulated and more scrutinized than law enforcement today.
Well, and again, these cameras also take an officer who did nothing wrong off that crucible a lot quicker.
Yeah, a lot of people thought police officers would not embrace body-worn cameras. Our department has definitely embraced it, and I think the officers like it. They love to have the camera as an extra eyes and ears that can help them in case they do have a fraudulent or something goes bad.
Johnny Dunnam retired recently from Baton Rouge Police Department. He now heads up Crime Stoppers for the Baton Rouge area, which is how many parishes? Eight parishes. Thank you so much for paying us a visit. We look forward to the next one.
We're going to have you back again. If you see something, if you want to help them, 344-STOP, 344-STOP.
225.
You never have to give your name.
That's right.
Back to wrap it up in just a minute on Exiles TV.
For Total Home Pest Control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bug Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Buggs Show. Tell you what. Oh, wait, gotta run. Gotta go. Bye.
But that was his job.
We're back with Exiles TV for just a few minutes. And Bill, there's one thing I do want to address, being as how we just spoke with a former member of law enforcement who's now still involved in law enforcement indirectly through Crime Stoppers. I mentioned to Jonny that police are being painted with a very ugly broad brush right now.
True.
And I'm very disappointed that some of our broadcast networks, Paramount Television, has canceled Cops after 38 years. Okay? Now the next one we hear is Live PD has been canceled. A cartoon show for kids called Paw Patrol is facing pressure to get rid of the police dog that they show in this animated program. Where does this lunacy... First of all, what is your problem with Cops? Cops and Live PD show police in the best light possible. So why would you have a problem with that?
That's why they have a problem
That's
with
why
it.
they have a problem with it, because it reminds people that cops mostly are good guys and gals. When does this madness end?
See, I always think that when you're taught about libel and slander, that the principle of law is that truth is always an absolute defense.
Mm-hmm.
Live PD and Cops is the ultimate truth-telling. They are showing you what happens as it happens.
As it happens.
Now, I think there are people that say, yes, but they're not in Scarsdale, New York. They're not in Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is under Cleveland PD.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? They're going where the crime is. And that makes people uncomfortable. It's a reality. It's a truth that they think they are better off not facing. And I have a problem with that. Nobody would watch a cop show tooling around Bocage.
Like you
It'd be
said,
boring as hell.
They go where they're called. Now, Minneapolis aside, and Minneapolis is an isolated incident of many isolated incidents, but it is an isolated incident. And for these networks to knuckle under to pressure from a very vocal minority of Americans is craven.
Well,
and I don't know what to do other than just avoid programming on their networks. And I know that in some small way, if there's enough me's out there, they'll feel the hurt.
They will pay the price for this ill-advised action. And by the way, that doesn't excuse what happened in Minneapolis, but it is.
Not at all.
It is an aberration. Don't let people convince you that it's the norm, because it's not.
We'll see you next week, and until then, you take care of yourself, and may God bless.
Be well.